You can find the source files used in this tutorial in the details area of the video workshop. In this video, we're going to be taking a brief look at the basics of CSS and the primary interfaces in Dreamweaver for working with cascading style sheets. Cascading style sheets basically separate presentation from content. There are two main parts of a CSS rule, the selector and the properties. There are three basic types of selectors: tags like paragraph, heading 1, heading 2, etc., classes, and IDs. Both classes and IDs are custom tags. Classes can be applied many times throughout your page. IDs are applied just once. Let's take a look at a basic page and see how CSS can affect it. I'm going to go over to my CSS Styles panel now and create a new rule. Rules can be contained in three different places. You can keep them in external files, you can embed them in the page, or you can place them inline in the tag. Only the first two methods are really recommended. Here, I'm going to embed a CSS rule for a tag, an H1 tag. Let's first change the font to something a little different. And let's give it a completely different color. And I can also change the margins. Here, I'm going to zero out the bottom margin and apply the rule. Some of the changes you'll see take effect immediately. Because of the way that CSS rules work together, some of the other changes, like the margin bottom rule, you won't see take effect until I create another CSS rule that relates to it. You can see in my CSS panel now that my H1 CSS rule has been defined, and there are various properties that are listed here. Let's create another rule, and this time we'll attach an external sheet. I'm going to browse to my CSS folder and open a sheet that I had created previously. Now we're going to define a class called firstPara that I will apply to the first paragraph. Notice that I'm defining it in my external style sheet. Here, I'm just going to go to the box category and change the top margin so that it's set to 0. Notice nothing happens on the page because I haven't applied that class yet. I have my first paragraph selected here, and from the property inspector, I can go to my style drop-down list and choose firstPara. That brings it right up to under the heading. There are several ways to modify your CSS styles. You can work with them directly in the properties pane. If I wanted to change that back to 10 pixels, I could do that directly. Or for major updates, I can re-edit the style and reopen the CSS rule definition dialog box. You'll also want to know that CSS preferences are handled in Dreamweaver, allowing you to modify the shorthand and various other CSS rules.